feel bad for him. Like, I really do feel bad for him. Decorate my Kindle. I can't get into the book like at all. I can't get over the plot holes. Hello my lovelies, welcome back. My name is Viry for those of you who are new here. I'm kind of excited for this vlog because I personally myself don't know how much I actually read in a week. I wanted to kind of like time myself and see realistically how much I read in a week. And this is as realistic as I get because a lot of my plans did not go the way I wanted them to. I had a lot of random things that I had to do during the week that I normally don't do. So it kind of just goes to show, when do I have time to read, especially during times when I can't just sit down and read because I have work, because I have life, because I have other commitments. Let's not drag this intro for too long. Grab a drink, get cozy, and let's get started with this video. So I actually was not going to start my video now because I literally have maybe like 20 minutes to read. I didn't get to read in the morning. Today has just been a lot. I went to sleep pretty late last night and I didn't meal prep for the week. So I had to do my meal prepping right now as well, right during lunch. So I just like basically didn't have time to do anything. I had gone to go see Project Hail Mary, which 10 out of 10 recommend if you all haven't watched it. But anyway, that's besides the point. It's already late, so I'm not gonna get to read a lot for lunch. I just thought it was such an awkward time to start this video, but also this is supposed to be a realistic reading vlog and this is like the most realistic I can get. My routine, my day doesn't always go as planned. We're gonna start off reading The Night We Met by Abby Jimenez. I have been talking a lot about this book and I feel like it's fair to just like read it in a reading vlog. I actually wanted to keep a timer this time around to show how much I actually read. So we're gonna go ahead and start it and, you know, start reading. Okay, we got to chapter 3, page 21. We're gonna stop here just because I have to go back to work, so we're gonna pause our stopwatch and got 19 minutes in. Quick little comment about it. I know I just read the first 2 chapters, but at first I had some thoughts and then I had other thoughts. I had gone in assuming that this was going to have the cheating trope. If it does, at least right now it's not that bad up until that last bit that I just read, literally the last sentence I just read. So far, Larissa, our main character, hasn't really been going out with Mike, who is Chris's best friend. Chris is the male main character. Larissa and Mike have not really been going out that much, right? Like they just started dating, they're just kind of getting to know each other and it literally is not that deep yet. Point is that whatever relationship, they're just seeing each other, or at least starting. And I'm just like,
okay, so it's not going to be terrible.
Up until this last sentence, she was saying how like Chris is so considerate and stuff like that, and like maybe Mike knew that Chris was going to be doing this. That's considerate of Mike, so like maybe she shouldn't break up with him. Anyway, point is, I'm still unsure of how to feel about it, but it's extremely early in the book, literally 20 pages. I'm not trying to find faults with it. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to react to this trope, basically. I'm gonna go back to work. I'm so tired. So I just came back from pool and I'm hungry. I just have like my dinner here, which is just like chicken, beans, some lettuce and sour cream, nothing too fancy. And I'm hungry, I'm tired, and I just want to read, and I'm really sleepy. I'm gonna read for a bit while I eat, and then I'll probably shower and like read for another bit and then go to sleep. So not a lot of reading today. Not a lot, which is fine, but we'll go ahead and start our timer. Let's eat. I'm sorry that I'm yellow. My dog's being a little brat right now. Hold on. It is almost 9. It's 8:54. So I'm gonna read. And if I get tired while I'm reading, I'm obviously gonna stop. Also, this is a side note, but I got this like new light alarm clock and I'm testing it out. I don't know if I like it. I might return it. But it's just really bright to look at compared to like my other ones. I'm like gonna dim the light a little bit. Let's read for a bit. Wow, this lighting is gonna be terrible to fix later. I wanted to do a small update because I got emotional. I swear, I mean, I am crying a little, but it's not because of the book necessarily. But I did get emotional. Larissa is basically really poor, right? She's really broke. She's going through a lot of financial issues at the moment. And she's talking about how she grew up poor and like the resources that were available and stuff like that. This might be a lot of information, but something that I've like been kind of going through and stuff like that was just like how I grew up. And I love my family. I love my parents. They did everything they could possibly do to give us a good life. But as I grow older, I also have noticed like the struggles that they went through that I overlooked as a child. Some of the stuff that they were talking about, Larissa's friend was like, I don't know how we would have survived it if it wasn't for WIC and free pantries. And I clearly remember the WIC program. My mom going and getting like the WIC, I don't even know what they're called, like coupons or something. We would go and we would exchange it for like juice or like milk. What else? Oh, cereal. Cereal was another one, right? I don't know. It's a bittersweet memory. Like kind of reflecting on it, I again didn't understand the resources that were provided to us when we were younger and what that necessarily meant in terms of like tax bracket. But at the same time, it's just like these sweet memories that I have of like my family and how they tried to do like the best that they could. I don't know if I'm keeping this in the video. I feel a little vulnerable talking about it, but I don't know. That was cute. Different angle than usual. But we're going to ignore that I'm wearing a lot of blush today. I don't know what happened, y'all. Doesn't matter. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and read. So we're gonna put our timer on. We are eating breakfast and I don't have that much time to read either. I have a bowl of oatmeal with some blueberries, blackberries, cinnamon, and some eggs on the side. We're gonna go ahead and start our timer. And we are in chapter 10. Let's go. Y'all, I'm gonna pause my timer. Got 16 minutes done. We got to chapter 12, give or take 20 pages. Y'all. I feel bad for him. Like, I really do feel bad for him. This is gonna be emotional. I don't know how I'm gonna feel. Because, like, right now, if I'm being honest, Larissa is not my favorite at the moment. I feel like she just needs to be honest with herself, with the people around her. I feel bad for all of them, all three of them. I feel the worst for Mike. He's going through something right now. And you could tell he's going through something, and I don't know how this is going to work out. Like, I don't know how I can see Chris and Larissa together. Even if they make sense, it's just messed up. I'm enjoying it so far. I still really like Abby Jimenez's writing. Like, I like how poetic it could be sometimes without being super flowery or over descriptive. Anyway, I'm gonna make myself a coffee and go to work. Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. I'm getting lunch later today with a friend, so I actually will not be picking up my camera until probably the evening time. I'll see y'all when I pick the camera up next. Okay, so first of all, we got rid of the alarm clock. I ended up returning it. I wasn't a huge fan, but y'all don't care about that. We care about how much I read from this book and how many hours I've read. So I honestly did not pick up this book since the morning. I did not have any time to read throughout the day like I expected, which, you know, sometimes happens. So in total, I ended up reading an hour and 29 minutes and I got to page 196. So I did the math. It was about 88 pages for today, which, you know, not that bad. I'm a little bit over halfway through. So I thought I'd give thoughts. I want to quickly talk about what the book is about and just my overall thoughts so far. This story follows Larissa and Chris, who happen to have met one night at a concert, but Mike, Larissa's current boyfriend, ended up being the one to take Larissa home from that concert, which led to a spiral of events that led to Larissa and Mike getting together. Chris had the opportunity to take Larissa home, but due to first impressions, Larissa chose to go home with Mike instead. Larissa and Chris start getting to know each other better after Mike asked Chris to take Larissa to the hospital because her mom was getting surgery and Larissa couldn't drive a shift stick and her car was in the shop. So Chris agrees and notices that Mike is a little bit hungover, so he just decides to go and do this favor for his buddy, and from there they kind of start getting to know each other. They ended up finding this tiny little dog and deciding to co-adopt it because Chris can't have dogs because he is not home often enough to have a dog, and Larissa's apartment does not allow dogs in her home. Larissa and Chris start getting to know each other while Larissa starts to get in a relationship with Mike, and so far throughout the story we're learning more and more that Larissa and Mike don't really have too much in common, and in fact there's a lot of red flags that Larissa sees in Mike because of her own personal issues, because Larissa grew up in poverty and she's currently like $30,000 in debt because her dad took a bunch of credit cards against her social security, so she's struggling big time, and she's starting to see reoccurring red flags that she has seen before in the people she's either dated in the past or the people her mom has dated in the past, and is starting to feel a little bit wary about being with Mike. Chris, on the other hand, is best friends with Mike, and he's starting to see a pattern with Mike as well, with issues of alcoholism and like anxiety, and just he's noticing his friend is not doing so well and he's starting to get concerned, but at the same time very frustrated because he's starting to care for Larissa and he's noticing that Mike is not really putting Larissa first, or at the very least being considerate about Larissa and like her issues, her allergies, and just stuff like that, right? Now we're getting to the point where Chris is just kind of like, what would have happened if I took her home instead of Mike? So that's kind of where we're at, right? It's a very complicated story and I don't know how to feel about it just yet. I'm halfway through the story, but I'm really invested. So I'm not hating it. I'm not upset about it. I do see a little bit of miscommunication, but it's not miscommunication just for like the pride of it all. It's more about like a new relationship and trying to approach these issues and not knowing if this is normal and stuff like that. And so right now we're getting to the point where Mike is really into Larissa, like according to him, even though he's going through a lot of things. But Larissa is not feeling the same way, and so like I said, she's starting to see these red flags and she's starting to kind of come to the conclusion that maybe her and Mike might not be the best together. I'm hoping that within the next chapters she talks to Mike about it. That's the only way I can see me liking the rest of the book, because then at least they are being adults about it. Chris is doing his best to stay away from his best friend's girlfriend. There's like boundaries that he's setting up for himself. The more he's realizing that he's starting to care for her more and more. But the thing is that he also cares a lot for his friend, and he himself is going through struggles because his mom just passed away, and he at the same time feels abandoned by his best friend because Chris always prioritizes Mike and his feelings and his outbursts and stuff like that. But the moment that Chris needed Mike, it didn't feel reciprocated in Chris's eyes. With everything that's happening, he kind of just wants to, one, make sure his friend is okay, because everyone that knows Mike very well knows that something is up. And Larissa doesn't know Mike enough to understand his behavior, and she's actually getting to know Chris more because they're communicating a lot more than her and Mike. And with Mike, it's almost kind of like a surface level relationship, even though Mike is very interested in Larissa and Larissa's just not at the same level. So in this point where I'm at, in order for me to be okay with the relationship, is that Larissa needs to communicate her feelings and end the relationship, because it's clear that she is not feeling the same way as Mike. So far, we're kind of like straddling that line right now, you know, the like innocent line of like just being friends and emotionally cheating with someone else. Other than that, I'm very much enjoying this book. So far, like all of the other books that I've read of Abby Jimenez, the more recent ones, the characters have so much depth to them. It's crazy how much I relate to some of Larissa's struggles, and again, I feel like this is kind of puts me in a vulnerable position, and I'm not sure how much I want to keep on camera. I understand a lot of the things that she has to do in order to save money and stuff like that. I remember scrambling trying to do odd jobs when I was in college because I couldn't afford to eat. The different things that like she went through when she was younger, there's some similarities there as well, and it's just, it makes me feel very like raw and open right now, and I don't know I think that's why I'm not hating on the book so much, is because we are getting to know these characters so much. They are also like humanly flawed. I feel like Larissa could have easily been a character that I didn't enjoy reading about. I think the way I relate to her character is what is making me be more empathetic towards Larissa. Those are kind of my thoughts so far. It's been pretty good. So we're gonna stop here. I might finish this tomorrow. I might finish it on Thursday. We'll see. Okay, we shall ignore the mess that I have back there. It's all good. We have our breakfast for today. We went and got donuts yesterday after the gym because we were both craving donuts. So we have a dozen donuts at home. So I'm having a donut and some eggs today instead of oatmeal. And we're gonna read because I have so much more time this morning to read since I didn't have to like cook too much. And I'm so excited to read. I just really want to sit down and read for like a good 20 minutes before I have to start working. Let's start, and let's start our book. I don't know if I should be reviewing this or rating this literally right after I finish the book because I feel like I need to process what I read. But at least for now, I think I'm going to say I give this book a 4 out of 5, which is honestly a lot higher than I thought I was going to rate it when I was reading it like halfway through. But I'm not gonna lie, it got to me at the end. I feel like I was really upset with Larissa at some point, but then I would have to remember that like because these characters are so humanly flawed, it is okay for you not to come to realization sooner because we're seeing a lot of these things as a third party. So obviously a lot of the times we don't know or we don't want to accept what's good for us until it's too late. And I feel like with Larissa, her just going through her mistakes was kind of a lesson she had to learn to not repeat her mother's mistakes. And there was a point where I was really upset with Chris because I just wanted Chris to talk to Mike. When we reached the halfway mark, I felt really bad for Mike, even though he was almost villainized, because it was clear that he just wasn't ready for a relationship, even if he truly deeply cared for Larissa. I felt bad for Mike because he cared more for Larissa than Larissa did for Mike. And you know, that's fine. I feel like it was unfair of Larissa to be leading Mike on like that. But again, I've kind of reconciled that a lot of the times it's hard to leave a relationship to begin with. And sometimes you want an excuse to leave, especially when nothing bad has happened in a relationship. And you have a harder time leaving it because you can't justify leaving. I feel like a lot of like with Chris was just, he needed to be open and honest, but I appreciate that he understood that he was enabling the problem by not being upfront with Mike about the things that Mike needed to work on. And I like that they all acknowledged their part in it. There was still emotional cheating to a certain extent. I think my issue with emotional cheating, especially in books like this, is that the person that gets cheated on is usually villainized for the sake of the plot, even if the person's not a bad person, right? Kind of like Mike. He wasn't a bad person. He just had to work on some stuff and was not ready to be in a relationship. Overall, I did enjoy it a lot more than I thought I was going to. It wasn't spicy at all. There was so much yearning, of course. Obviously, there's like a bit of a forbidden aspect to it. There was no spice, which, you know, I like my spice, but it felt appropriate for this book that it was a fade to black moment. I'm gonna say 0.5. It was really good. And I knew this was gonna happen. I knew I was gonna have conflicted emotions because I love Abby Jimenez's writing. She does such a good job of being able to deliver such delicate stories because this is a type of plot that a lot of people do not enjoy, like myself. I still enjoyed reading the book. I kind of just accepted that these characters are going to have a lot of flaws to them, and that's okay as long as they acknowledge and try to work on them. And I feel like that's what happened in the book, which made me accept the ending a lot more. I don't think I'm gonna pick up another book. So we read for 2 hours and 33 minutes, and we read a total of, let's see, 189 pages. I don't think I'm gonna pick up the camera for the rest of the day today, so I guess I'll see y'all tomorrow. Good morning! I turned on the camera because even though I'm not going to read at the moment, I wanted to talk about the next book that I'm going to pick up, which is Let's See If I Was Prepared, and downloaded it on my Kindle. I did! Yay! I did download it. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but it's Daggermouth by H.M. Wolf. I'm reading this for a book club, so I'm going to also be discussing this with like the online book club I'm in. But apparently this is a really trendy book right now. I don't know, I'm not really on social media as much. Aside from all of that information, the reason why I did turn on my camera is because I wanted to do something with y'all, and that's decorate my Kindle again. I've had this way for like 2 years now, and I think it's time to kind of change it. The first thing I'm gonna do is hopefully take this off. Okay. Good. I was going to get a new plastic case, but I found it kind of dumb because the plastic case that I currently have right now, which is this one, works perfectly fine. Nothing's wrong with it aside from it being like yellow because of like it's old. Why would I get a new one? You know, this is just going to go to the landfill if I throw it away, or even if I try to recycle it. I don't know how recyclable this is. Might as well just keep it until like I literally can't use it. It's done a pretty good job of protecting. Oh my god. Ah! What? No way! I literally just damaged my own Kindle right now. I like peeled. I did not. This was fine. Yeah, we're gonna have to be careful because now I gotta hide this part. Anyway, as I was saying, we're going to clean up my Kindle, try to get some of that tape residue off, and then we'll disinfect this one as well. We're gonna let this dry to the side. I have a Sonny Angel, a hipper. It's the Dreaming series. The different ones that I could get are right here. They're so cute. So let's open it up. No, it's a little koala. That's cute. It's yellow. That's my favorite color. I know I wear a lot of pink, but yellow is my favorite color. That's so cute. Oh, look at that. Oh, the more you see it, the more I like it. Yeah, I don't know which one I would have wanted. I would have maybe wanted the bunny because the bunny ears are kind of cute, but the koala's really cute. Now that we have our little Sonny Angel, we're going to pick out our stickers. So I have a bunch of stickers, different Mamma Mia ones that are so cute. My friend got me this one, and considering that I read a lot of smutty stuff in my Kindle, I think I want to use this one. I have another one of like these like stackable ones. See, I have another one. I like this one too. I didn't get to use this one last time. I don't know if it's too outdated now. It says inserts himself where? I need something that will cover this, so I think I'll put this one right here. I think I'll put this one down here. Maybe this one to put on the side. And I'll do inserts himself where. It looks kind of plain. I think I want more. How about this? How do we like this? I feel like I need something right here though. Now I feel like I did not think this was gonna be that hard. I also gotta keep in mind that I'm putting my little Sonny Angel up here, and usually I like having them on the edge like that. Do I have it in the middle? No, middle looks weird. I don't like it. I might change the boots. I think it's the boots. It's just this part right here. Okay, switching that stack for the other one. I'm so indecisive. But yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. I kind of don't like the blank space here, but I don't know what else to do. This literally covers so many books though. Our little koala right there. Yeah, I think I'm gonna move this. Hold on. But then now this is too empty.
And now the booty's on her face. But then this part is too empty. It's more. It covers the actual candle. Yeah, what if I angle them? They don't have to be fully straight, right?
I think this is it. I think this is what we're gonna do. I might change it again off camera, but at least for now, this is what we have. This is the back. And I think I like that. I might change it. I'm overthinking it now. Okay, so, oh, let me show y'all what I ended up doing with my Kindle. I did adjust it a little just so it didn't look that empty from the middle, and this is what it looks like, and I am happy with it now. It took me a while to kind of be satisfied, but now that I'm like picking it up and looking at it, I really enjoy it now. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and read for a bit. I'm gonna go ahead and start my timer. Also, random side note, I noticed that I'm wearing the same sweater I always wear for all of my videos. What can I say? It's not a video of mine without the sweater at this point. We're gonna go ahead and start my timer. I have half a donut here that I'm eating. Are you crooked? Probably. So it is 9:31, and I'll be honest, I did not read at all today. I read 20 minutes so far, 21 minutes, and I'm gonna read a little bit more, but today is a perfect example of unexpected events that happen. I went to a showcase that my studio put on, and it was so last minute. I was already undecided if I was gonna go, and my friend had an extra ticket, so I accompanied her, and we went. I just got back like an hour ago, a little bit less than an hour ago. So I do want to read a little bit because I haven't really gotten to a good part of the book yet. I'm tired. I'm probably only gonna read for another 20-30 minutes, which will probably be about an hour total for the day. So we'll see how much more I read. I'm so tired, but I finished everything I had to do today except do my nails. I wanted to go over really quick how much I read yesterday, which wasn't a lot, but again, realistic week where I'm not trying to do a challenge or I'm not trying to read as much as I can. This is just when I have time, when I can sit down, and when I choose to read, because I am watching a show right now. I'm watching an anime right now. So there's two things I can be watching, but I'm choosing to read instead because I want to read. Yesterday, we read a total of 28 pages for 42 minutes. So we got to like chapter 3 and I was exhausted by the time we got to chapter 3, so I decided to go to sleep instead. And right now, we're gonna go ahead and start our timer. I have not read at all today. It's already like Friday evening. Usually I'm busy on Friday, so I don't have time to read. Right now I'm just gonna read for maybe like an hour, and then I'm gonna go and make some pasta and probably take a break from reading in general, and then go back to it later on tonight because I do want to read a little bit for tonight. But I am very tired, so I might sleep early tonight because I'm going out tomorrow. We have read for almost 3 hours. We're at 2 hours and 51 minutes for today. And if I'm being honest, I think I'm going to read a little bit more. I just wanted to give an update for tonight. I think I'm going to try to reach 3 hours to 3 hours and a half. But at least for now, I am in chapter 12, page 142. So that's a total of 114 pages so far. But I'm currently reading Daggermouth by H.M. Wolf. I'm more into it now, but it really took me a few chapters to kind of get into it. I wrote some notes just to kind of give you a quick gist of what the plot is so far. And I think this is as much as I could tell you because you can read it in the synopsis on the back. Basically, we are following two characters, Grayson Sorrell and Shadira Kale. They live in this dystopian world called Newfound Haven, where basically they have this society called the Heart that is the government of this city, town, country. I'm not sure exactly what it is. I'm pretty sure it's a country. There are 3 different factions. There's the Boundary, the Cardinal, and then the Elite, and they all live within like rings. It's what I'm imagining, like an actual like circular ring with like walls and stuff, like something similar to Attack on Titan, because I don't know how else to imagine it. So there's 3 rings. The Boundary being where like the poorest of the poor live. The Cardinal are more like the like blue collar working class people who aren't necessarily poor, but they're not the Elite. And then the Elite is like the 1%. They're in this very like strict world where literally like falling in love, being with like someone from a different ring is punishable by death. It's very strict. The elite are always wearing masks and no one is allowed to see what they look like. We have the main family, Grayson's family, who Grayson is the executioner and his dad is the president. Shadira is from the Boundary. She is a Daggermouth, which is basically like a mercenary group. She's not part of the rebellion that is like happening in this dystopian world, but she is part of a mercenary group. She has a vendetta against the Sorrel family, Grayson's family, because they killed her parents, and she gets this contract to go kill Grayson. And Grayson over here, he's kind of like an undercover rebel where he despises his dad. He does not agree with his society, but he has to show face. He has to put on a mask, pretend to be a part of the society so he can keep helping the rebellion. Basically, Shadira goes over to the elite, to the heart, and tries to execute him. They get caught. And one of the things that Grayson does before almost like dying is he takes off his mask, his last act of rebellion basically. And during that moment, his family walks in with like the family that he was going to marry into and a bunch of guards, and they see that they took off his mask. And the Daggermouth, who's like from the bottom of the food chain, just saw him without his mask, which is again punishable by death for both parties. Now like the dad's just like,
oh, well, this is gonna make us look weak and like a bunch of people saw, so I'm gonna force you guys to marry.
That's kind of like where we're at. That's where I'm at right now, is that there's this like forced marriage happening where they're trying to use Shadira as like a symbol to show that even... Honestly, I don't even know. Now, I have notes. I have quick notes. We get to chapter 4, and this is before Shadira goes to the heart to try to assassinate Grayson. We are introduced to Shadira's friends with benefits, basically, and there's like a spicy scene. I noticed in the book club, everyone was just like head over heels for Jameson, and it isn't until recently where I'm starting to like him a little bit more now, but at least at the beginning, because I was having a hard time getting into the book, I could not see the attraction for Jameson, especially once we hit the spicy scene, because I had no connection to these characters, and I'm just like, great. I'm starting to realize that as much as I like spicy books, I don't like them as much as I thought I did. Mostly when I can't see a connection between the characters. And because we were just introduced to this character, I'm just like, I don't get it. I don't get the appeal. Especially since we know that he's not the main love interest because there's this forced marriage going on. Unless he will be, but it's starting to feel like a love triangle. There was this chapter, Grayson and Shadira start to fight because Shadira's out there to try to assassinate him, and so like there's a fight scene between them, and it's such a good scene. I really like how like we went about the scene and everything. It was so interesting. Like I really liked it. That was when I got pulled into the chapter. I think it was like chapter 6 or 7. I was really into the book in that moment, and I'm just like,
okay, I'm excited to read this.
But then we hit chapter 8 where we're basically introduced to the concept of a forced marriage, and I'm just like, what? This is so contradictory, because the book opened up with Grayson having to execute this couple for falling in love with each other, and they were from different rings. One was a boundary and one was a cardinal. So it was just like, you're killing people because they can't marry, they can't be with each other outside of their like own society, and yet you're forcing this marriage onto them. And then what's really frustrating is that within that same chapter, we see how the president is just basically like,
well, I am the law. I don't bend to the law's will because I am the law. I can change it if I want.
So it just made no sense for me, honestly, this forced marriage. It's such a big plot hole. It's so big and so hard to ignore. I'm hoping it gets better. I saw some people saying like, yeah, they couldn't put it down, but there's no standing ground for this plot when you're making such a big deal of people can't be together outside of their society. But that's my opinion, you know, like I'm just a few chapters in. I'm not even halfway through the book, and that's a pretty major plot hole that I feel like I can't overlook at the moment. But maybe if I continue to read, it'll be better. But anyway, my camera's about to die. Like I said, I'm gonna read a little bit more, and I'll update y'all tomorrow to see how much I've read. But I think I'll read for another hour or two. This either is gonna make it into the video or it's not, because holding my camera actually makes it really shaky and I don't know why. I have an outfit on, super cute outfit. I'm gonna go for a walk and probably sit down and read for a bit. I don't know how long I'm gonna read, but I will say this book has today to convince me to keep reading it. If not, it's going to be a DNF. I feel like I have mascara running down my eyes. I just woke up from a nap, y'all. I was reading before this, but before that I was doing my nails. I actually was able to do them because my stuff came in, and that doesn't matter. The point is I was reading. I did read. We took my dog on a very long walk and we did some stuff, like walked around and stuff. And I was gonna take a moment to like read outside, but I couldn't. So I ended up just reading like while I waited for my coffee. And then I came home, and after I finished doing my nails and everything, I also read for another bit. So in total today I read for 52 minutes. So not even the full hour. And I made it to chapter 15. I think yesterday I made it to like chapter 12 or something. I read maybe like 3 chapters. I don't remember what I updated y'all, but at least yesterday I read for 3 hours and 6 minutes and a total of 127 pages. Right now I'm at 194 pages. So I read give or take 70 pages today. I'm not into it. I'm so sorry. I can't get into the book like at all. I can't get over the plot holes. I feel like as the book continues, there's more plot holes. And there was also a lot of like grammatical mistakes that kept taking me out of the book because sometimes some sentences wouldn't make sense. I don't know if it's just me. I don't know. I feel like a lot of the times, hi baby boy. Hi baby boy. He took a nap with me too. I woke him up. I'm sorry, baby boy. I feel like a lot of the times I can oversee grammatical mistakes. In fact, a lot of the times I don't even notice them. But because I'm not really into the book and I'm not sucked into it the way I was hoping I would be, it's so easy for me to spot them and to spot the plot holes of the story as well. Like, I don't feel like there's any validity to any of the issues happening at, like, hold on, that sounds bad. I don't believe the story. That's what it comes down to. I just don't believe it. I don't know. I'm just not into it. I'm sorry. I'm not into it. I can't get into it. According to my Kindle, we're 34% through the book. I think it's going to be a DNF, if I'm being honest. I was going to give it a chance today, and I've read a bit, and I cannot see myself completing it. In conclusion, after I've talked my mind, talked my piece, I think it's officially time to DNF this book. Okay. I'm tired. So I went out last night, like I mentioned, and I did not read more than what I had already talked about. We're gonna go ahead and sit down and read. It's already really late in the day, and it's kind of stressing me out. For no other reason than I feel like my weekends just go by so fast. I do want to read for a bit. I have been putting off reading mostly because I've noticed that the other book almost put me in a reading slump. I'm actually really glad I DNF'd it because I feel like if I had forced myself to continue to read it, I would have been in a really bad reading slump. So we're going to read something that I know will put me in the mood to read, and that is Wanted by the Alien Warden by Ursa Dax. This is part of the Cowboy Colony Mail Order Bride series. I believe this is book 4. If I can't get in the mood of reading, I'm just gonna like drop it there. So realistically today I'll probably read maybe like 2 hours because I also have to do my everything shower and I have to prep for tomorrow. So far, I read an hour and 42 minutes. Got into page 110 in chapter 11. So I'll give a quick rundown of what this book is about just to kind of like end this part. I'm reading Wanted by the Alien Warden by Ursa Dax, and this is the 4th book in the Cowboy Colony Mail Order Bride series. If you're not familiar with the series, I've talked about it before, so I'll briefly touch on it. Basically, the series follows this program, the Mail Ordered Bride program, which is basically between Siberians and Earthlings, humans. That's what we're called, right? Siberian and humans, where there's this planet where convicted felons were sent there as children, basically, that were too young to be sentenced the way a adult Siberian could be sentenced. Now these children are adults, and so their government decided to do this program with the humans to bring brides to them. So far, the first 3 books were for the first 3 humans that were sent, and they were all really cute. And so now, in the book that we're currently in, book 4, it's actually about the warden, the guy in charge of this colony, specifically of his province. So that's Warden 10. And then we have Tasha. Tasha's actually the human liaison for the Siberian, and she's the one who was in charge of sending the women to this planet and stuff like that. The thing is that the government of the Siberian didn't tell Tasha, or like the humans in general, that the men in their program were convicted felons. And while they're like all really nice guys and stuff like that, all of them were convicted for murder, even those majority of them were self-defense and stuff like that. And so obviously Tasha freaked out. She sent 3 innocent humans, and she's just like,
oh no, I have to make sure they're okay. What if they're like being held there against their will, being forced to say that they love their husbands, and in reality it's not anything like that.
So she goes to the planet to make sure that they're okay, and the warden's kind of like taking her around, and it's just following the story between the warden and Tasha. So that's where we're at now, and it's so freaking cute. A completely different vibe from what I was reading. I'm just really enjoying this book. I really like it. I really enjoy the writing. I enjoy the storytelling, and it's always such a good, fun book to get me back into the mood of reading, and I'm just been looking forward to reading this. They're also really short. I believe they're all less than 300 pages, and I have maybe like 2 hours left in this book, and I just started reading it not that long ago. Yeah, so this was 270 pages, and I'm in page 110. I'm 42% through the book, and I just picked it up. But that's kind of where we're at. I'm really liking it so far, but I knew I was gonna like it. I think I'm gonna read for another hour. We finished our week. Yay! I definitely did not expect to have so many random things come up during the week. It was the most spontaneous week I've had, but I do appreciate that I'm able to show you when do I actually find time to read if I have such a busy week. We read 1 book, and that was The Night We Met by Abby Jimenez, and then we DNF'd 1 other book, Daggermouth by H.M. Wolf, and we started 1 final book, Wanted by the Alien Warden by Ursa Dax. Let's talk about how much I actually read during the week. In total pages, I read 760 pages from Monday to Sunday. The time spent reading was 13 hours and 8 minutes, give or take. So I think that was pretty good. I think we did a good job. But anyway, that's it. I don't know why I'm dragging this out so much more than I need to. Let me know down in the comments below, how much do you think you read in a week? If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't done so already and you would like to, please subscribe. I usually make book content, and now and then I make some lifestyle vlogs. But thank you all so much for watching. Have a beautiful day, a beautiful night, and happy reading. Bye!